Micah requested me on Patreon to review the Disney Channel original movie High School Musical. This was of course a massive phenomenon, and watching the movie these days, it's easy to see why the tween audience fell in love with it in 2006. However, I have to confess that when this movie aired and took off, my younger teenage self held a snooty attitude towards it. The whole production just felt to me like an attempt to sell records with a bunch of pretty faces, and I thought the whole thing was too silly, especially the pop songs that fill the soundtrack. Now that I'm older and look at the movie with more open eyes, I find the film certainly has things to appreciate, even if I don't think it's that great. At its core, High School Musical is basically a 2000s version of Grease, albeit more family-friendly. It has the familiar premise of the two teenagers from different worlds who fall in love, despite their friends being completely opposed to it. I understand why the filmmakers decided to go that route, and they found talented young actors to portray these characters. Admittedly, I don't find Troy and Gabriella to be the most compelling protagonists, but Zac Efron and Vanessa Hudgens are sweet together and try the best they can, even if the dialogue has a tendency to fall into corniness. They definitely fare the best during the songs, which is why High School Musical shines. There's a reason the soundtrack became such an enormous success with the young Disney Channel crowd of the mid to late 2000s. They have an easily listenable quality to them and a lot of energy, made even better by Kenny Ortega's choreography. If I had to pick a favorite song in the movie, it might be Stick to the Status Quo. It does a good job of portraying the individuality of the students at the school and their unfortunate need to stay within what's expected of them. The cafeteria set was clearly made to fit this musical number, and that leads to some creative images. Get Your Head in the Game is also very energetic, especially the way the actors move the basketballs to the beat of the music, and while all this together serves as a nice ending song. If there's someone who manages to steal the show, it's Ashley Tisdale as Sharpay. She's the main antagonist of High School Musical, although the filmmakers avoid making her too despicable. It helps that she gets the best lines in the screenplay, and Tisdale finds the exact right note to play the character. She seemed to become a really in-demand actor for Disney Channel at the time, and I think a major reason for this can be attributed to her comedic timing. What's even more impressive is that Sharpay, Maddie in The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, and Candace in Phineas and Ferb all feel distinct from one another. Another character that stood out to me is Kelsey, who serves as a songwriter for the musical Troy and Gabriella are trying out for. I love the fact that in this universe there's a high school student writing these professional level songs for this musical. I also like her arc, where she gains more self-esteem. A character I did find rather frustrating was the drama teacher, particularly in the third act, when Sharpay caused her to move the final audition at the same time as the big basketball game. I understand she exists in her own world, but she's still on the faculty, and likely aware of the championship game being held at that time, and she also knows Troy is on the team. However, I understand this contrived scenario primarily exists as a way to create some conflict for the climax. The messages are incredibly obvious and done with not an ounce of subtlety whatsoever. I also find the story is not anything much to write home about. However, the main intention of High School Musical is clearly to take the high school movie setting with all its cliches and stereotypes and add a whole bunch of musical numbers to help it stand apart from the other Disney Channel original movies or teen comedies. This was not the first musical DCOM, as the Cheetah Girls aired 3 years before High School Musical. However, it managed to stand out at the time, as there were a lack of teen movie musicals in the early 2000s, and it's clear this filled a massive niche. Is High School Musical cheesy and corny and obvious? Yes. The film does check all the boxes you expect when you hear about a Disney Channel original movie with that title, but checking off all the boxes is why it was able to appeal to so many. Call it a piece of corporate product all you want, but the movie was still the result of a talented director and songwriters and performers coming together to create something energetic, widely appealing, and oddly charming in its corny sincerity. Even if the film is not one that speaks to me, I also completely understand why it remains a favorite for the generation who tuned in to its record-breaking premiere, listened to the soundtrack many times, and turned Troy, Gabriella, and Sharpay into beloved characters. Now let me know in the comments what you think of High School Musical, and thank you for the request, Micah.